Hello, I'm Rabbi Shmuel. Thank you for joining me. In this week's Parsha, vaetchachan, we have an example of the ultimate teacher, Kodesh Baruch Hu, teaching Klal Yisrael the ultimate lesson, the Torah, the Aseres Dibros. In this week's Parsha, the pasuk teaches, Min hashamayim hishmiacha es kolo liasreka. From the heavens you heard his voice to steal you. Val haaretz hercha es esho hagdola. And in the land you saw his great fire. Udivarav shamata mitoch ha'esh. And his words you heard from within the fire. In the Mechilta, Rabbi Yishmael uses this pasuk to explain an apparent contradiction in Sefer Shmos. One place in Sefer Shmos, in Parshas Yisro, Perek Yud Tes, it says that Hashem descended on Har Sinai to give the Torah. Later, in that same Parsha, it says that we heard the voice of HaKadosh Baruch Hu from the heavens. Did Hashem descend on Har Sinai, or did we somehow ascend to the heavens? To help explain this idea, the Mechilta actually brings three opinions. The opinion of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, is that when Moshe Rabbeinu went to receive the Torah, he ascended to Har Sinai, and the Malbim says that Har Sinai itself ascended to heaven. The same way that if a servant were to serve a king, he would serve a king in the king's chambers and not in his own servant's chambers. So when Moshe Rabbeinu went to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he was taken up to the chambers of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is very appropriate for Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. Nasi is someone who is literally lifted up. He's elevated above the people. And he understands that when Moshe Rabbeinu comes to receive the Torah, he also has to be lifted up in order to do that. And similarly, the people have to be lifted up. Rabbi Akiva understands differently. Rabbi Akiva understands, based on that first pasuk in the end of Perek Yud Tet, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in his humility, lowered himself, descended to the people, descended on Har Sinai in order to be able to teach the Torah. The humility of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is such that he loves the Jewish people to such a degree that he's willing to somehow compress, condense the beauty and truth of his Torah in order to make it possible for the people to hear it, understand it, learn something from it that they can enrich their own lives with. Rabbi Yishmael, however, uses this pasuk from Parshas vaetchachan to understand that there's a two-part process in the teaching of the Torah. The first part is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu taught a kol from Shemayim. Min hashamayim hishmiacha es kolo liatzreka. A kol is an inarticulated sound which is difficult to break up into words, which is difficult to get a clear meaning from it. The one thing that you can get from a kol, like the kol shofar, is the ethical, compelling nature of the message. That somehow there's something important going on here. There's something emotional or spiritual that it's difficult to articulate in words. You understand that it's coming from Shemayim, but it's difficult to know how to interpret it, how to translate it into action. It's important to hear such a sound because that binds us, it steals us. It's liasreka. It gives us a sense of compulsion to challenge ourselves to work in a way with an energy greater than we otherwise would have had. But after that, Rabbi Yishmael teaches, Va'al ha'aretz hercha et isho hagdola. Afterwards, there's a great fire down here on earth, which is illuminating, which warms, which helps us deal with this earth down here al ha'aretz. Udavarav shamata mitoch ha'esh. And then we have particular words which we hear from within the fire. So Rabbi Yishmael understands that both Rabbi Yehuda Nasi and Rabbi Akiva are somehow right. To some degree, we have to be uplifted, we have to be elevated, we have to be touched spiritually and emotionally in a way which is difficult to explain to other people, or even difficult to explain to ourselves. We have to be shown the big picture in a way which is inspiring, if difficult to translate into particular action. But then, after that inspiration, we need to be able to translate that message into something which is practical down here, on earth. A fire which warms, a fire which illuminates, a fire which helps enrich our life down here on earth. This three-part process of teaching, both seeing the enlightenment that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi emphasized, both seeing the humility of a Kodesh Baruch Hu, of taking his huge ideas and translating into bite-sized messages, which are practical in our lives, and seeing that it's important to have not just one or the other, but to somehow synthesize and have both, as Rabbi Yishmael pointed out, is something which is a challenge for me here as a teacher at Michlala, and I think my colleagues are also trying to do that very much as well, to be able to show an illuminating, inspiring big picture, to be able to help our students translate it into a message which enriches their lives in a practical way, and to be able to take that practical enrichment down in the world without it somehow corrupting the idea of having a big picture. That sometimes it's very easy to be able to find one practical application and lose sight of the fact that there's an idealistic message which can be taught in lots and lots of different applications, which we might not even be able to imagine today. To be able to have that overarching idealism together with that practical application, to be able to put it together, that's really a challenge of Torah education. It's a challenge that I feel that we try to do here at Michlala, and I welcome you and look forward to seeing you this fall.